Welcome to Licking Non-Vanilla, a sex-positive hour of talk about kink, sexual mores, and writing dirty words. So grab a cup of cocoa, your favorite easy chair, and the lube as we go sailing into the dark, sweet waters of all things naughty. On Licking Non-Vanilla with your hosts Ralph Greco Jr. and M. Christian.
Hey kids, welcome to Licking Non-Vanilla. We were getting into stuff even before the cameras rolled here, so we were all like, well, let's get to it before we get really silly. My name is Ralph Greco Jr., I believe, and my co-host is
I think M. Christian, otherwise known as Chris.
I believe, right. And today we're lucky enough to have yet again, because we had her once before, and once you have her, you want to always have her. Miss Ava Durga. Hello, Ava. How are you,
darling.
sweetheart?
I'm great, thank you. How are you? And good.
We're good.
Hi,
Now we're all in.
Hi there.
Actually, we just realized that Ava and Chris have never seen each other on screen. So you have to watch their hands because when they see a pretty face, you know what they start doing. And yeah, look at her trying to be all contrite. And then when we were just talking, Chris showed us something he's reviewing. Chris, why don't you bring
There it is.
So what is that, Chris? What's it called?
I'm reviewing this for kinkly.com, and I've done several sex toy reviews for them. They're always fantastic. And this is called a baldo. And this is something that you insert if you happen to own a pair of these. You insert testicles here, and then you use it like a dildo. And this is, believe it or not, this is not the weirdest sex toy I've had the pleasure of reviewing, because I've got, my closet is full of like all kinds of, fun little buzzing, oscillating, vibrating, like smart or dumb sex toys. But this is the one I'm doing right now.
Are you giving a demo?
No, I don't. I don't go that far. I don't go that far.
You can get ratings that way, dear.
No.
All right.
That's true. We could. It's funny. Ava, a long time ago, you and I, because you and I have known each other a little while, and we Skyped and skipped and twatted and tweeted and all that kind of stuff. But there was a time, I think you walked me through an area of your house, didn't you? And you were showing me some lingerie and some toys.
Oh, at the Sissy parlor.
At the Sissy parlor, right? We were talking.
Yeah, you were there.
There was quite a bit. You had quite the array.
I did. It was a full closet and a very nice, everything was covered with pink and satin. And right? Yeah, I think we were doing it. That was very early in the parlor days. We were doing a photo shoot and you were there reporting.
I was there virtually. So tell us what happened or what's happening with, because we should reintroduce you to everybody, but let's why don't you tell everybody what you do? So we could get kind of an idea, he said with his hands.
Yeah, keep your hands in view. I work with cross-dressers. I call it a sissy confidant and CD life coach. Cross-dressing life coach and sissy confidant. I'm a sissy mistress, in a way. But that's how I start.
Now,
with live sessions. So
different than a regular or irregular domina in many ways.
I think
right?
in many ways. I mean, every dom has her own style, just like every woman has her own style and personality. Mine tends to be a little more of the gentle femdom or mild femdom variety. I'm more engaging, encouraging. I try to bring out something rather than beat something out of them or push it out of them. I try to pull it out of them. And so I work with men who want to feminize.
Okay, and is that still at the Sissy parlor? Where's that at this moment?
Well, the Sissy parlor itself was, because of COVID, I was forced to close that down. During COVID, then I started Circle of Q, and I also do webcam and phone consulting with clients. I started Circle of Q, which is what I'm doing now. That's my main thing, is a live social community and networking site for cross-dressers and trans femmes. I do take sessions occasionally with existing clients. I'm really not doing a lot of new clients now, but I have a friend of mine named Lady Coventina who has a lovely play space close, actually very close to where the old parlor was. And so I'm seeing select people there, but I really like doing things virtually, what we're doing at Circle of Q and what I'm able to do by phone and webcam, because I can reach a lot more people. And I'm more interested at this point is connecting people, like making not feel so alone.
So like a social network.
Right.
Word, yeah.
Social.
Yeah. Because Chris and I have talked about just the science fiction aspect of things and how we're constantly amazed in the science fiction world how those fans still want to get together, where if anybody should be connecting virtually would be these heavy duty geeky people that have been into communicating in different ways for a longer time. When you say that, Chris, I mean that's what we've always
absolutely
across,
absolutely right? It took a while, which surprises me, because like you said, you think that all those geeks and nerds and such would have been embracing this, but there's been a little bit of like slowness doing it. But I'm so glad what you're doing, Ava. That's actually fantastic, because all kinds of sexual things can make people feel isolated, especially with the pandemic. So having a social way of like connecting with people is fantastic. I know a lot of places are actually starting to finally, kind of use the virtual, communication using Zoom or like we're using here. I think it's absolutely wonderful, and I applaud you for that.
Oh, thank you. I will say it feels really good, because I also have a meetup group in South Florida called the Blue Bells, and that is cool. A live sort of meetup. So Circle of Q is international. We've got people from all over the world that are members, and so somebody in London could be talking to another cross-dresser friend who's in Dubuque, Iowa, but have Zooms and things. But there's still, but a lot of them are on there because they do want to meet friends, or sometimes date, sometimes friends, but they want to see other people. With the Blue Bells, though, it's really amazing because it's this live meetup. So they'll come and they have a chance to dress. But regardless of how they meet, most of these I'm called ladies. When they're dressed, they're ladies. They're my girl. Right? They are doing this alone. And like Chris mentioned, and a lot of times they've got their clothes hidden. They're closeted. And they look pretty. They want somebody to notice them. They want somebody to talk with them. They want to know that they're not this, very isolated. That there are other millions of other people like that out there, and that takes a lot of the shame out of it some, and lets them, I think, relax and enjoy that part of themselves, because pardon me, it's really a mental health issue. And I mean, let me clarify what I mean by that. It's a release valve. If we know the importance of play in general, read anything corporate, right? The importance of play to mental health. Well, this is something that is a way that they go into this alternate space, and they're able to relax and turn off the pressures. And I'm talking cross-dressers, not transgender, which is a different issue. At least it's different. I think it's a way that they are able to let off steam and not feel so alone and not be isolated. But they can't. It's how they can relax, and to take that away from somebody who really has, and some of them it's a very deep need, to deny them that didn't make enough, is, I think, potentially damaging.
Well, for a hetero male that I've been my whole life, and I'd start to laugh because the last time we talked, we were talking about the possibility of some of us having to wear panties at one point, but nobody was admitting to that except you, Ava.
But I don't see any of the three of you from the waist down, so we don't know what you're wearing under there.
That's true.
You never know. But although Chris and I write this stuff, and we've been in the world for a long time and understand our own sexuality as best as we can, there are misconceptions galore out there, between trans and cross-dressing and fetish and kink. There's a slew of misconceptions. So what would you say is maybe the first and foremost one that, I hate to say that the general public doesn't understand, but the biggest misconception or prejudice out there about what you do specifically, or the people you encounter?
Oh boy.
It's a big question.
Yeah, it's a really big question. I mean, I think gender is one of those things that it's. Boy, that's a big question. It is. I know. Especially in this day and age. The biggest one, and I'm going to refer to cross-dressers now because there's a difference. I think the biggest one about cross-dress is that you're secretly gay, you want to be a woman, right? Mm-hmm. You're confused, you're this sort of thing, and they see it as an identity issue instead of something that people do to relax. So they are confused, and women in particular, if a dating partner or a husband, and that happens more frequent than you might think, that somebody after a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades of marriage has kept the secret their entire life, which to me is really sad. I mean, imagine keeping something like that, having to keep from a spouse. When a spouse finds out, it's very, it can be very disarming, the best, and traumatic, worst, because again, you're seeing this is my husband. He's masculine. I married this guy. I'm with him. He must be a woman. He must be a woman. He must be gay. He must want to do all this other things. And that is a misconception. Or he wants to leave me for a man. Like, no, he likes to put on panties.
That's another one, right?
He might want to just relax in panties or sleep in a nightgown because it makes him feel soft and feminine and relaxed. That's the biggest one, I think. The other one is cross-dressers, and along the same lines, cross-dresser and trans women are the same, which are not. And obviously there's gray area, but the way I would put it is a trans woman, born assigned male at birth, but identifies female, wants to find female. She's female. That's her identity, right? That's who she feels inside.
Yeah, absolutely.
A cross-dresser, you can think of it more as it's a little bit minimalizing it, but it's more like a hobby. It's something they can put on to go into its sexy space, or it doesn't even have to be erotic for many of them. It's just, that's just how they relax. It's just safe. It's soft, it's pretty, and a lot of them are very creative. So it's a creative outlet. A lot of these guys are in very sort of, I mean, it goes all over the board. But if you're in a very linear sort of job and you have to wear man's clothes, you don't have that much choice of colors. You don't have much choice of fabric. You don't have much choice, right?
Or lace, right?
If you have an ounce of artistry in you, I mean, some of the cross-dressers, they just go, I mean, they are expert shoppers, man. They know exactly what most women wouldn't know. But they get this thing, and you talk to them, and they say, I have this closet in the back of my house, and it's and they go in there. And I think as a woman, I can understand that also. They open their drawer of panties, and instead of a bunch of, do I get boxers or briefs today? They go, well, these the gingham check that are Mary Ann, or do I feel like more like Ginger with the, sexy thong? How do I want to be today? And can put together a look and just express themselves in a way that they never can in their male life.
Yeah, well, I think that's because everybody wants that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Chris? I mean, we're all just looking to feel better and free.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you look at like clothing that's designed for masculinity versus femininity, which are again social constructs and have real no meaning, but the limits, you're so limited. There's no like different fabrics, there's no different colors, there's no different styles. It's all just kind of very limited. And I can sympathize. I find myself looking at things online thinking, it's like, can I pull that look off because it looks so different? It looks colorful or different.
One way or the
exactly.
other.
Yeah. So I think it's wonderful. And I love the fact that we're sort of like steadily kind of losing those distinctions. So people are having more freedom to dress or use accoutrement, affectation, whatever you want to call it. That doesn't really fit any particular gender. I love, gender fluidity, and I think it's magnificent. I love seeing what people are playing around with it. I just wish I could pull it off better.
Well, let me tell everybody where they are.
What?
Well, let me tell everybody where they are, first of all. You're at Licking Non-Vanilla, and I'm Ralph Greco Jr. That's M. Christian. That's Ava Durga. She's our... I'm crushing your head.
You're crushing my head. Okay, should I stay still?
I'm crushing your head. Actually, I'm trying to do what Kong did in what's her name? Jessica Lange.
Yes.
Trying to take your top off.
Yeah, well,
I'm trying to take your top off my finger.
You show me your cock ring, and I'll take
never
my
works.
top off. No, I'm not. I would. No, don't even.
Why do you even say stuff like that?
Because I wanted to see if you do it.
No,
I'm
it's
not
only a
taking my
matter of
top
time,
off.
babe.
Oh,
I know you
Hang on.
wouldn't. Come on.
you know me.
Come on.
Denial's much more powerful.
Chris will flash his nipple
I'm taking my clothes off any chance I get. Are you kidding?
Let's see your hands, Chris.
I don't know.
Hands up, everybody.
Nope.
Hands up.
Nope.
Oh.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Hands up.
Oh, okay. He's still clutching his little
Chris
Beulah Bob.
I'm like the croupier.
I see. His little
The
purple
croupier in
phallus.
Vegas. Nice. There it is again. Slowly making its way seen. Yeah, they're very nice. Whoa. Something just fell in the background here. Whoa! I got my my studio wall full again on me as we speak. We're all getting too excited over all this. So Ava, you do some live work, and then you do the call-ins, and then you all that kind of stuff. What? I don't want to like put you on the spot here, but what don't you do in this milieu? Like you're saying, absolutely, I have a firm limit. I won't shoot scenes, or I won't. What won't you do?
What won't I do? Oh, in life. Oh, in like.
Well, it doesn't matter. Just in the milieu itself, whether it's shooting a scene,
right?
Or whatever.
I don't do video content. I don't do audio. I do stories. I'm doing hypnosis, and those. I'm getting into hypnosis. I haven't yet.
That's
like
cool.
Cosmic conscious. I'm more into cosmic consciousness kind of hypnosis, oddly enough, but that's off licking von Vanilla, as opposed to what there's this whole genre of audio porn called Sissy Hypno, which people really grab onto. Have you not heard of it?
No, I haven't heard that myself.
It's pretty.
Chris, have you heard?
Oh, well, it's huge.
I don't think
it's
so.
Huge. It usually involves a bunch of shots of. So the idea of the Sissy Hypno is to break you down and make you want to be a woman, and so it's usually a series of really rapid scenes with cock shots and sissies and beautiful women, and it's all usually revolving around that sort of thing. For mine, I'm more about a journey where I'm taking them, and I know I'm getting off topic about what I won't do. Okay,
No, I'm interested.
in doing that.
No, I never heard of this. I've never heard. I've heard of the hypno porn. I've heard of the hypno porn, and quick images coming at you, and but
there's a lot of sissy
on.
porn like that, right? Yeah,
okay.
My interest is more taking. Maybe I'm just a little more of a wussy dom. I like taking them on a journey. It's not necessarily pushing them into doing whatever they may be fantasizing about new or not, but it's more about, hey, let's take you into this wonderful space where you can relax and really close your eyes and get into a space, feel feminine, enjoy the feeling. If it ends in, if it's orgasmic for you or not, fabulous. One thing, some can be, some can't be. But it's more or less taking it, because there's, I think through hypnosis or audio or even just conversation that I have, it's able to get them into that femme headspace. I think I might have mentioned before, I'd be really interested in finding a neurologist to do measurement with an EEG, EKG, EKG, when somebody's dressed and they aren't, because over and over and over again, they report this altered state of consciousness. It's an altered state of being, maybe like subspace to some degree. But they go into this completely different space where they're totally immersed, totally relaxed, and then can come back out of it. Now, there might be fantasies that they would never want to go to in real life. Some of them do. But a lot of them, they fantasize about it when they're in femme mode. They fantasize about it, but because of relationships, other things they don't want to go there. But if they want to experience that for that little while they're relaxed and they're going into that headspace, or when they're dressed, being able to facilitate that is important. But I don't do forced femme I don't do role play. I don't do,
because the forced femme is pretty much almost a dom trope.
Yes.
Yep.
Right, Chris? I mean, we've seen that all the time.
Exactly. It's like punishing someone by having them dress as a different gender or something similar. And often
using it by force.
Exactly. But of course, force is a relative term, because hopefully it was negotiated beforehand, because sometimes punishment is exactly the opposite. But exactly, forced feminization, playing, I'm sure it's probably the opposite, but exactly.
Yeah, sissification. I mean, we've seen all that stuff.
So it would be more like, gentle humiliation. So it also depends on how you define forced femme. Are we tying them up and putting them panties? I'm going to make you into my girl because because I like girls and I'm going to do this to you. Or is it,
I got you.
Come in my house. I know you want to put panties on and model for me. I know you do. You know, I want you to put panties on and model for me. I don't have to tie them up and tell them. I ask them and they listen.
Right.
I encourage them and I lead them rather than put them where to go. So it's more when I got into this business, I decided that I really wasn't going to do anything that went against my own grain. And I'm just kind of an agreeable person.
We spoke about that initially. I remember we spoke about that initially, and I just got the feeling you were just a little too bright and aware to get into a place where it just was anathema to who you were.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't think, knowing you, I mean, we didn't even know each other when we first met. We met in the city, New York City. And even then, like the initial, when I met you, because we had spoke a couple times, I kind of figured this is not the kind of lady who's going to be able to do something that she doesn't have her heart and soul into. She's not going to be able to do it. Some people can. I mean, they can make that division, you know. But I didn't think you came across as the kind of person who was going to be able to do that.
Well, thank you. And not that that's, and again, that's not really bad. It's just, no, it's a
I'm
old enough to know that it makes easy work. If you like what you're doing and you're finding and not enduring conflict within myself, trying to be somebody that I'm not, and then you have to keep up this facade. That's another reason I really don't. I do some role play, but I'm not really into the whole role play thing other than so it just makes it easier. I mean, I do turn away business, but I'm happy to refer people like to other mistresses I know that might have more of a style, because every mistress has a style. There's one, I don't really know her, you probably know her, Eve Minax in San Francisco. She's a sissy mistress. And,
do you know her?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Mina, of course you do. Everybody.
Oh, yes. So it's like I had a process for a second there, memory not being what it once was. But I remember. Right. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Right. Oh, yeah. Right. I know Eve.
Because you're not in San Francisco anymore.
No, I'm up in Eugene, but I only moved up here like about 3 years ago.
Run away from the city. Anyway, so kind of going back, but all different mistresses have different styles, and what they adopt, I think, is what they're comfortable with, and they hopefully attract the niche that fits best with them. And so,
and that
makes perfect sense. I think it's once again, I think it's something I have tremendous respect for, because it's easy to say, I mean, to anything, and all that happens is they end up doing everything kind of like, not if they're not into it, they don't put their heart and soul into it. They also don't understand the allure. They don't understand what can go wrong. They don't understand all that kind of stuff. It just kind of, makes it feel, and this is not being too disparaging, makes it kind of feel like they're just out for the buck, as opposed to, this is what I like, this is what I do because I like it and understand it, which again is, I think, is wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Well,
do you think then, because what you do, Ava, I would say is certainly a more a more niche side of the street, even in the kink world, So do you think, and I can ask both of you this, do you think we're getting a little bit more niche-ian in our needs and what we're gravitating towards as far as culturally? See, I only asked the good questions, Chris. You realize that, right?
Great questions.
Chris may not have his hands up, but I'm asking the good questions.
I don't know if it's more niche as much as there's so much more information out there, and people are very, they're able to define what, when I kink, what's that? Well, then we have names for it, and there's websites for it, and there's everything else. I don't know. I mean, for me, for Nietzsche, it's like setting up what I like, and they show up, and they either show up or they don't. I don't see that creating a situation where people are like stuck within a niche. I think if anything else, it opens them up to the fact that there are other kink things. It's like, okay, you're a sissy, you want to track out. What do you think of spanking? Oh, okay, because that is a different kink.
I don't know. What do you think of spanking, Chris?
I completely agree.
I don't know what I think about
I'm not sure we're getting more kinks, but I think the advent of like the internet and such, it's like everybody out there who's into not just a universal like spanking, but there's people who are into bare bottom while dressed as, spanking, can find each other and they form a community. And, it's like, look at music as a good example. I mean, music used to be like, blues, soul, rock, and so forth. Now it's like we've got 5 million different subgenres. And I think sex is no different. So we have 5 million different subsections of kink that could be, everything from glitter to, latex to, and then every combination of every combination. And I think it's fantastic. I think it's cool that people who think originally they might be isolated. I'm the only person who is into this, but that's why I love porn, because not for obvious reasons, but also because if you think you're the only person into this, type your kink into a search engine, you'll find out not only are you not the only one, but there's a whole community out there who's interested in what you're into.
Yeah.
So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you don't think because we have so much at our fingertips that we're looking for deeper and wilder ways to get off now? You think it's because we have the opportunity to search for these things that we do find these things and make communities around these things?
I think it's both above apples and oranges. I think that, I think we might have a tendency to like over exhaust things because we get things so easily and so quickly. But at the same time, it also allows us to sort of like focus more, because you're sort of like taking in, saying, well, that worked for a little while, but there's something else going on here, and I think I should, go move in this direction. So same way, it's like a lot of people when they start with kink, they always kind of like do the basics, but then after over a certain number of whatever time it takes, they suddenly kind of realize, okay, I'm actually A, or I feel better being A, fill in the blank. But no, I think there's always going to be a little downside to this kind of stuff, but at the same time, I think the upside more than makes up for it.
What do you think, Ava? Generally, you think it's just that because we have the opportunity to search, we are searching?
Yes, and I do think that kinks come across people's transom that they never knew existed, that then do take hold. I do have a lot of cross-dressers that tell me, I won't say a lot. The majority started when they were young. I think that's something that's there. But there are some who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, and they're like, I watch porn, but one day I'm on Pornhub and the sissy thing came across and I watched it and was like, oh my God. And then they got really deep in it. Now, whether that fanned a flame that was already there, or whether it was taking them because it's transgressive and something new and they're able to switch over, which is one of the downsides of porn, right? So there's, like anything, there's two sides to every coin. I do have, I've wondered at times what direction that's going. Is it because, again, if it's something innate that triggered them, or if it's because, what is transgress? Transgression is erotic for a lot of people. You're doing something naughty. That's what a lot of cross-dressing is for some, or sissy. I'm doing something naughty. I'm doing something, whether it's a fuck you to the universe, or whether it's, I want to be, erotic humiliation. Yeah. I forgot.
No, well,
sorry.
I don't know. Well, Chris mentioned the apples and oranges before, and I think it's important that we discuss what can be done with apples and oranges, because that's a niche all of its own. And I don't know why did I say that. Ava, you know what? Before we get any further, first of all, you're listening to Licking Non-Vanilla. I want everybody to know that. But Ava, why don't you, out of your own pretty mouth, tell everybody where they can find you?
Where they can find me? Well,
out of your own
pretty little mouth. Well,
dirty little mouth. You got such a pretty mouth.
If they're sissies or admirers or cross-dressers and are interested in joining a community, they can join a membership. It's Circle of Q, CIRCLE of Q.com. And they can join. There's a free like a basic account where they can get on chat and look at the public forum. But the real good stuff is behind the paywall. So we've got Zoom socials. People, they can match each other. They can talk to each other. We've got web chat and all that. So that's the social community. That's actually what my love is, and it's matching people. They can find me on Night Flirt, because I do phone on night. Sometimes I get on there. It's a secondary. And then my old website is still up. It's called thesissyparlor.com. And they can find information there on web and phone sessions, consultations with me. And we'd arrange that. So those are those three. I don't think I've forgotten anything.
And you're based, we know where you are. You're in Florida, so you're based in Florida.
Fort Lauderdale.
And for the foreseeable future, are you going to stick around there, you think? Because I'm always interested in, because Chris, just like he said, he just moved to Eugene. And I'm always interested in, and I'm staying right where I am on the East Coast. I'm never going to move.
It's hard to leave Florida. Honestly, I don't know. My living situation right now is probably going to change within the next 6 months. And honestly, the prices in Florida are getting a little bit out of hand. But I love it down here. I live and work near a place called Wilton Manors, which is a very open, like a gay transgender, everything Mecca. But I don't know. I sure like the warm weather. So I don't know where I'm going to be in 6 months, which is one reason that I really like working online and with this is I really like to be nimble. I like to live minimalist and light, and be able to be fast on my feet if I need to. So that
right. Keep your toes tapping.
My toes tapping. Yeah. That's right. So we'll see. You can ask me next summer.
Well, I think we all feel that way. There is a certain freedom to, I guess, do what we do the way we do it virtually.
Oh yeah.
And, even before the whatever what's that called, the COVID thing. Even before that, we were all kind of working that way, right? We were.
Yeah, definitely. So more and more. Well, I did for a long time, even before I got into this. Working remotely, and the idea of going back into an office every day is just I couldn't. There was recently a sort of opportunity. I think it was fake. I don't think it was real, but an opportunity came by that sounded very interesting to get involved in the business, and then I started looking at what my days would look like, and I would be basically acting like an employee, sitting like an office, even if I was a shareholder. It's like, I don't think that's for me. Once you've had enough autonomy. I call the shots, and there, as you both self-employed, there's pros and cons both ways. But for God's sake, the pros certainly outweigh the cons.
I would, right, Chris. Sitting on our jammies and writing is.
I could get I could get on a plane tomorrow, Ralph. I could come up visit you in New Jersey. We could sit there, and I could still do my work from your house.
Yep.
Right. We wouldn't get along.
No, I wouldn't. That's why I'm not up there, Ralphie.
Neither of us would.
That's why I'm not there.
Well, actually, what would happen, we would spend the day just jawing away.
We would.
That's
We'd get
what
stuff
we would
on
do.
Skype jawing away. I want to tell a...
We would just...
I want to tell a funny story about you, because Chris hasn't heard it.
Uh-oh.
Do tell.
I don't know if Ralph knows what I'm about to say. So,
one... Please go ahead, and two, I hope you have pictures.
Well,
it's like the panty story.
Oh, that's a different story. No. So
that's a different.
I talked to Ralph a few times. I think we Skyped a few. So I saw, but he was always, he had the hat, and I'm like going, okay, had the hat. So I come to Manhattan. We meet in Manhattan. We're going this, and here comes Ralph, and he's got the hat on and the long hair, and I'm going, hey.
The wannabe rock star.
Yeah, the wannabe rock star look. I'm like, okay, let me read. And I was convinced that this was one of those hats with long hair.
Oh, that
attached.
I had
Look, in our age
with
group,
the thing attached to the hat.
To have that much hair is like usually a rarity. So I'm thinking, that's okay. Ralph's bald, and he's really conscious of that, and that's cool. Bald guys wear hats. All right, when we're push-up bras, bald men wear hats. We all try to build our assets.
And
bald's great.
Plenty of times, Chris and I have worn. Chris, we've worn a push-up bra.
Yeah, exactly. I'm wearing one right now.
So I don't know when it was. So I think I went on a year or 2 years or so thinking this. I'm like, okay, great, not a big deal. And then one day we're on Skype or we were on something, and he didn't have his hat on. And I said, Ralph, it's real hair. He goes, what do you mean? I said, anyway, see, now yours is longer than mine, I think. Anyway.
Well, you know what happens? I put it, I just, there's something about it. I don't like a ponytail. So I put it under a hat all the time.
Oh.
And, but that was the one time I just had my freak flock flowing. And as David Crosby says, and she was like, what did you get? I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's your real hair.
Because you don't think about it. You just, just live in your, I was like fanning myself. I don't know what she was going to tell. I don't know what story she was going to tell. Well, I don't want to embarrass you, so I'll let you say it if you want to. But remember when we met in the city?
Yeah.
And what you warned me about before I saw you?
That I was nice?
I'm not going to say any more unless you remember.
Oh. Yes.
This is not embarrassing to me.
Okay. I'll tell.
You may not want to. It's okay if you don't want to say what it is.
No, because it's actually a funny story. So now that you bring it up, okay. I can't believe we're doing this on video. So when I first started the Sissy Parlor, I think it was my first client or second client. I'm very nervous and great. It was over the knee spanking, right? So I'm spanking him, whatever. Great. Session went well. I'm getting ready for bed. And I'm looking in the mirror. I don't have any clothes on. I'm like, why does this look bigger than that one? Suddenly, one boob. So I had somehow ruptured my breast implant, spanking this sissy. So I said, nobody's going to want a one boob sissy mistress. What am I going to do? And so I actually had to go to New York, and I'm trying to find, what do I stuff in my bra so that the size C and the size A look somewhat similar. And if that's not what you're talking about, I'm going to be really embarrassed. Okay, good. Okay,
that is.
Okay, because I gave you a warning.
Yeah,
it was really uncomfortable.
I'd never met.
Yeah.
No, I had never met Ava before in person. So we met in a city, and you didn't know what. I don't know if we kind of knew what each other looked like.
I knew
maybe.
A picture.
Yeah, so I was waiting in the lobby for her to come down, but you said to me, "Oh, you may not want to come in and see me." And I said, "What are you talking? Why?" She's, "Well, I've had this little boob problem." And I'm like, first of all, I could care less. And second of all, that's if it's not a good time, it's a great story,
right,
you know. So so she came down in the elevator, and she's, you know, as beguiling as she is here. And, you know, gave each other a big hug. And then, you know, arm in arm, we walked to the place to get something to eat. And all that time you were telling me about that. And I don't think I wouldn't have ever even noticed, I don't think. I mean, you're wearing kind of what you're wearing, kind of like not super low cut.
I had something, yeah.
Yeah, but
it was.
I didn't notice, but that was funny because she even said to me, Chris, she goes, "You know what? I don't know if you're going to want to come in and see me because of this." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So you didn't know what happened until afterwards?
I didn't know until afterwards. No, it was a saline implant, and they were old anyway, so. But it was a little bit. It was a little bit. So first we had it when I was starting the sissy parlor. It was hard when it was. First we had a hurricane, and I had to delay the opening by a month or two, and then I broke my boob, and then so that took another 6 weeks to find the money to get them replaced. But it's been smooth sailing since then. But yes, I was very It had just happened. And I was really flipped out about it. I was, because everything I wear in session is kind of, you know, you can't really hide.
Yeah.
You know, I had nothing that didn't show cleavage. You know.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I do remember that. I mean,
I forgot I told you about that.
That morning, you were like, "I don't know if you want to take the bus in because I don't really have everything." And I'm like, I give a shit, you know. And like, again, like you know, you hang out with Ava for more than 5 minutes, you're having a good time. So you don't care what her boobs look like. You know?
You're a sweetie. That was fun. I forgot you knew about that.
You know, Ava, seriously, Chris, we know this too. I mean, what's going to make you do your job well, your specific job well, is not what's here.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be
exactly.
what's up here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? I mean, 100%. And confidence and all that kind of stuff. But this is secondary to what's going on up here, wouldn't you say?
That's nice. That's Ava? Nice to hear. Well, you have to ask men. I don't know.
But it's true, right?
But I hope so.
Yeah, but it's got to be true.
I'm hoping. I'm betting on it. I'm hoping. Well,
no kidding. Yeah.
Somebody either likes my brains or they like my boobs, and if they like both, fabulous.
Yeah, but I think it's going to the staying power is going to be your brains.
I think so.
No offense to the girls.
No, I think it's true, and honestly, that's one reason I'm very blessed to have this profession is because I don't anticipate that I will age out of it. Right?
Right.
Because there is certain, you see a lot of mistresses who are in their 70s.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really, right? Because it's about what you do for a person. It's about the energy exchange, how you read them, how you respond to them, what you bring out of them. And, you know, you're 23 and thigh boots, you might bring out a certain amount. But if you're 65 and you've got some gravitas and understand how human beings operate, that's going to be way more powerful. I think of somebody like Cleo Dubois, another person. And I only came with her once. She enters a room. She's serene. She's centered, but she's got presence. You can tell. So yeah. So the wrinkles may come, and everything. You know, things may fall, and wrinkles may come. But when you're working in human relations and human emotions and human right. And not to mention, I don't really see anybody under 50 anyway. So there's a benefit of seeing older men who maybe their eyesight's not so great. Take off your glasses, honey. We're good.
All I have to say is, you know, you talk to a lady like you, who looks like you, who has a brain like you, and use the word gravitas. I don't need much else. Let me tell you. After we're done recording, you know where I'm going to go. I mean, I'm going to be like, gravitas,
totalitarianism, demagogue. Shall I go on?
Spell gravitas. How do you spell gravitas? So slow.
Give me any word. I can spell any word. Almost any word.
I am
was
not,
an editor.
Chris, I don't know about you. When I use Grammarly, I have like a blackout. There's a blackout in my town because the spell check.
Oh God, yes.
You know?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. And half the time it doesn't recognize words that you really can't use in public. But it's like, you know, it's like, no,
you get this little asterisk.
Yes.
It's a word.
Or I get this is archaic language.
Yes.
I use aforementioned, and it's like this is archaic language.
Therefore, aforementioned. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What are you talking? I haven't used Grammarly in a long time.
A casual reader may not understand this. Fuck them. I'm going to put it in anyway.
They can use a damn dictionary. Merriam-Webster.com.
Will they understand the word? Will they understand the word
exactly.
That's they'll understand.
Either that was like, it's like
Ava,
I drive it crazy all the time. It's like as well as opposed to and, because I've used and 3 times in the sentence. It's like, don't tell me I can't use well as.
I can be as creative as I want. In fact, comma.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I tried to catch.
So Ava, you take any time?
GURL. It will not let me, and I'm texting, and I even when I do it in my fingers, I'm still my shoulder is there. It will not let me type the word girl, GURL.
Mm-hmm.
Pisses me off.
Ava, we got to. I know Chris has none because we talk about this all the time. But you have any plans for the holiday coming?
I do not. Actually, I'm having
for the new year.
For the new year. Oh, for my holiday.
Or anything that's coming up.
I don't have a date, so I don't know. No, I have. So my daughter, I have a daughter who lives overseas. She was here visiting, and so we actually already had our Christmas. So I think I have friends I might go visit.
There you go.
But I actually might just stay home and be on. Honestly, I might just stay home and get on Night Flirt and make myself some pudding. Just relax for the day. I'll make myself some roast beef and pudding and just sit here and stare at the lake and talk to people on Night Flirt. So we're watching.
Now, is that pudding or pudding?
Pudding. Oh, no, not that kind of pudding. Cornstarch and cocoa.
I know some things about
what?
I know some things about Ava that could fall into the world of pudding. We're going to go there.
Yes, we'll be doing about Jingle Bells and stocking stuffers, and
I could use the word pudding in some instance for the couple things I know about you that you particularly like to do. And I'm not going to say it here.
You're talking to Chris? Me?
No, you.
Pudding?
Yeah.
Pudding?
I'll Skype you later. I'll text you later and tell you what I'm talking. I can text you right now and tell you.
Maybe you should.
Hold on, let me text you right now.
You're ruining my chances at marrying a presidential candidate. I hope you know that.
No, I want to. Before we leave, I just want to see you jump out of your chair.
Oh God, I'm afraid. Oh my God.
I'm not going to tell. I'm not going to say this to you.
And everybody's watching this, right? So now I'm supposed to read it, laugh, and then.
Yeah, well, they can't see what I'm writing, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, you're texting it to me. All right. Yeah. I'm afraid. I'm so afraid to look, Chris. I mean, Chris, save me. Chris,
you're on your own there, darling. You're on your own.
Thanks a lot, baby.
Save me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope, Obi-Wan.
This is why gender stereotypes are good. I did not. Did you send it? You're supposed to save poor little old me. Nope. Didn't.
I just sent it to. Oh, you know what? I didn't send it to your.
You sent it to my sissy phone.
No, hold on.
I have.
I'll
text. This is my regular phone.
Now, this is what I hate about social media, is that we're doing this show and nobody can see what I'm texting. Who gives a shit what I'm texting? And we're doing it right now. I'm doing exactly what I don't want to do.
But you're doing it anyway.
I'm not going to dime. I'm not going to dime you out.
Well, you better not stop now. That's like with some kind of a weird edging thing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we can. I'm edging her, Chris.
I don't. That's not me. No.
You told me you like that. Didn't you tell me you like that?
Inside a committed relationship.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But we're not going to tell anybody what it is.
Thank you. Let's keep that a mystery. Like I said, I don't want to ruin my marital chances at a presidential candidate.
Of course. All right, sweetie. Well, thank you for being here today.
Always
fun. I love you guys.
Look at that beautiful face. Look at that beautiful face.
I love you guys.
Not yours, Ava. I'm talking about Chris. No, yours too.
I keep wanting to polish Chris's head. I love you guys. Thanks so much for having me on. This was a blast.
Oh, thank you, honey. Thank you so much. Now, follow Marky's instructions.
Yes,
Remember,
will.
Don't go. You can go, but you can keep recording. So we need to get a little bit more. We'll let you know where you can go off. But anyway, that was Ava Durga. Say hi.
Hello.
And Ava was. Thank you, Ava.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll wrap up here. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you, sweetheart. So that was the wonderful
absolutely
Ava,
fantastic.
Chris.
Ava's one of the best people in the world.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun. Isn't
absolutely,
she?
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's just the best. The best. Well, we're at the end of another Licking Non-Vanilla. I don't know how the hell we got here, but we did. I'll do this with my glasses. So anyway, it's just weird when we're involved with video now, which we hadn't been before. So it's a little different, you know. But it's still fun.
Oh, it's absolutely. It's wonderful. And once again, you're so great for helping doing this and all this great stuff. It's always a delight.
Yeah, we have a good time. And you know, we got a producer here that's
absolutely.
Just right
Mark's
on the ball.
A dreamboat, I tell you.
Helping us 100%. And there he is. He's smiling at us. You won't see him on the video, but he's smiling at us anyway. Okay, so thanks for listening again to Licking Non-Vanilla. My name is Ralph Greco Jr. on the East Coast of the United States. And over there is...
Chris, otherwise known as M. Christian from the wilds of Eugene, Oregon.
The wild environs. And you have to call him sir. You don't get to call him Chris. Anyway, but Chris has been wonderful, as always. And we had a great time with Ava. Thank you, sweet Ava. And she's great for stories. She always had a good story, panties and breast implants and whatever you want to talk about. And your little cock toy, this is what it's all about. So, Chris, I'll see you next time, and we'll get into something crazy here, I'm sure.
Absolutely, looking forward to it.
Just as well. Right. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening to Licking Non-Vanilla, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye, all.
And visit us on the web at www.lickingnonvanilla.com.